All right. Well, we are so happy to have Alfred Giancarli in the or on the line talking to us. This is Sleep and Sim with Gareth and Craig, and we're talking about his wonderful, amazing new film, Weeknights, which will be playing at the Sidewalk Film Festival. So, thank you so much for joining us, Alfred. We really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for having me. Thanks for what you said.
Oh, absolutely. No, I'm a big fan of the style that you use or the genre, if you will. And I was amazed that this was your first feature length film. Is that correct?
It's my second, but my first was as over 20 years ago. So it's a big difference in a departure from the style of that one.
Gotcha. Well, this style, I mean, the term that's used colloquially is slow cinema. And,
Yes.
I saw, echoes of, Chantal Ackerman and Bella Tarr. And it really reminded me of a recent one that I love called Chronic by Michel Franco, specifically like the length of each shot. For those going into this film, it does have this approach, but I connected with it immediately. I thought it was amazing. So my first question, well, it's kind of a two-part question. First is, what campus did you shoot this on in New York? And then second, was there any consideration ahead of time? Did you have like a mathematical equation of like how long each shot was going to be exactly?
Yeah. So the campus was a medical school near me here in the Bronx, and one that I grew up near, so was very familiar with. It still is called Albert Einstein College of Medicine. And my cousin lives I live close to it too. My cousin lives very close to it, and he's my big movie buddy. So dropping him off after seeing movies together, I'd often be passing the campus, and I started to think about the people who work there late at night, and then eventually start to talk to some of the people who work there late at night. And I think that's where some of the inspiration for the setting came from, which is like so important. It kind of grew out of that setting. And then the second question was, well, sorry, what was the second question? Oh,
It seems very precise. I tried to time it, but I didn't want to make a presumption that, oh, this is exactly 40 seconds or what have you.
yeah. Yeah, I didn't do any type of mathematical like formulation saying, this needs to be exactly a minute, this needs to be 30 seconds or anything. I think I had a general idea. And, it's funny, someone asked me at a Q&A recently a similar question, but they asked me if in the script I put, 2 minutes for this scene. And I didn't go that far. I would say I had an idea of what needed to be or what I felt needed to be longer or where I wanted to really slow things down. But then that also kind of changed while making it. And I felt like with some of the things that we shot, it was a very brief, I think 5 days. But then we went back and I did some additional photography on the campus myself. Uh, but I felt like with especially Julian, who's my friend, who's the lead actor, and also with the crew, the more that we did it, the more we kind of got into that rhythm. And also, we were shooting overnight, so we were all really tired ourselves. And so, the more we did it, I think actually the more we kind of slowed down and we found a rhythm that worked best. And some of my favorite things in the movie were the things we did toward the end.
Fantastic. Yeah, no, and for those going into this, I mean, it really is this simple story of these three graveyard shift workers. Again, I directly connected. I put myself through college with a graveyard parking lot job. And so that rhythm just hit home tremendously for me. I was like, oh, I know exactly what this security guard is going through. The person working at the convenience store, it just hit me to the core because I love that element where you show things all the way through, like putting on the Lega help at the end. That's a beautiful thing for me. But Craig, I know you have some thoughts as well.
Well, I actually have a bone to pick with you, Alfie.
Please.
I have a hard time about slow cinema. It's almost a running joke at this point on the show. And I love this so much that I have to apologize to you.
Well, yeah, I really appreciate that. I mean, if I could be honest too, I don't know if it's mixed feelings. I mean, I'm like an unabashed, I guess, slow cinema fan, especially Simon Lang, who is really the big inspiration. I watched a lot of Simon Lang, especially during the, I guess, during the pandemic or during the height of the pandemic, Home Alone. And I think a lot of Weeknights comes from that. But there are things, and it's so many things get labeled slow cinema right now, and there's a lot of things that fall under that umbrella, rightfully or wrongfully, that I really don't like either. And there's some stuff like Simon Lang films that I think are absolute masterpieces, and I say he's like my hero. And then there are other ones, and maybe I won't mention them by name, that really don't work for me. So I was trying to tell myself too that even with movies that I want to make or the next one I want to make going forward, because something, and I've heard other people say it in different ways, because you're holding a shot for a long time and using this element of duration, and duration doesn't automatically equal a profundity. Um, and yeah, so I don't know what I was saying before that. I think that was the point I did.
Earlier about understanding that rhythm. It is very meditative. And my favorite shot when it was later in the film where the sun was rising at the end,
Oh, cool.
and you held on to that shot for a long. I didn't time it, but it's a long time, and I. It's one of the things. I goes, oh, now I get it. Like, not that I didn't get it before, but this was really a beautiful. And I think that you've written that it's kind of an homage to the Bronx, right? I mean, it's to the city.
Yeah.
Yeah. And a lot of, from what I know, I don't know a lot about slow cinema at all, just from what you've told me and what we've talked about. But a Memoria, I think that would be considered slow cinema.
Memoria. Yeah, definitely.
But it's usually in my nature, like it's a focus on what's happening in nature, and this is so very urban and so very architectural that it really struck me, living in cities. There was this beauty of it. There's one shot actually that I was like, is this a still? And I had to watch to see the trees rustling in the background, and it was just beautiful. How many shots is it really? I try to keep count.
I think it's around 40.
Yeah, it's not a lot. And
Yeah.
and as an exercise, as a practice of this meditative state of the night in the city, it just is beautiful. I can't wait to watch it again, actually.
Oh, thanks. Yeah. Well, I hope you'll
On
be
the
there
big screen. Yeah.
for the screening.
Yeah, and another crucial part I think that makes slow cinema work for me, at least, that I think you do beautifully, is sound design.
Oh, yeah.
Because sound design, both as connective tissue within shots, but also alerting us, we really tune into that. So when we have a shot that looks still, that the gradual sounds that suddenly we hear that normally we may not hear, that was incredible. So my question about that, of course, is, how much was that live that you recorded in those actual areas versus post-production sound design creation?
Yeah. So a lot of it was live in that I think we were lucky both with sound and the image that we shot mostly on, I think, very still late summer nights. Most of it was like Labor Day weekend, 2022. And so I think we were in a place that is very quiet normally at night. It's the Albert Einstein campus during the day is like this really hustling and bustling place, and you have lots of cars going by, and med students and people working at the hospital next door. But it's this place that's just at night just so quiet and so peaceful. So I actually fell in love in a way with sound recording and field recording while making Weeknights and afterwards. So I went back and did some additional like field recording to get some more ambiance so we could layer it, and also some additional special effects or like specific sound effects like ambulances going by, sirens, things like that. But then Trevor Misplay, who was our very awesome and very patient post sound mixer, he also added a lot and did some additional Foley work. There was, I don't know if you know the car wash scene. That was one where Trevor really created all of that in post. And then, yeah, recording, the clanking of his washing machine and stuff for the car going through the car wash. And then there are other ones where we, like for the final scene, We got really great sound on set, but then we also we added some additional recordings and a recording that I made of what it's like just outside of my house very early in the morning because I live across the street from a school, and I just thought it was this really like lovely soundscape, just recording out my window at 7 to 7:30 in the morning as you kind of hear things come alive and like buses arrive and you hear children in the background like yelling and running. Um, and we still don't know where it came from, but it sounded like we almost got some wind chimes in there as well in that final scene. And so yeah, that was how we approached, and Trevor was really good about trying to create this layered kind of like ambient, urban soundscapes. And I think a lot of times in these slow movies, because you're not working with dialogue, the that ambience is maybe a little louder than you'd expect, or some of those things are high, or maybe it's just that you tend to, I don't know if it's focus or you're more aware of it, just the small changes in the sound that's going on. But I think we also we also did that and really tried to ramp up. I remember it, wanting the highway stuff. I love both uh, field recordings, just and also just photographs and video of highway traffic. And I remember really talking to Trevor about like how loud can this be? Can we get even more low end with the big truck that goes by? And
because
Yeah.
you're really going to get that experience of a more of immersion into that environment. So I'm very
And
excited.
it forces you. That's what I love about this type of film, is that it really forces you to pay attention to other things that you normally wouldn't.
Yeah.
And it allows you to immerse yourself in that. So it's the beautiful sound bath at moments, but also looking for the details. I mean, it's not quite a Where's Waldo, but trying to find where our wonderful security
Yeah.
guard is suddenly going to pop up in the image. It allows you then to look at the architecture and what there is of nature and how
Right.
those interact. Just fantastic. And speaking of our wonderful security guard, one aspect of this slow cinema is also non-professional actors versus
yeah,
professional actors. Could you give us a little bit about your philosophy with this film and your approach on that?
sure. So the lead is my friend Julian, and yeah, non-professional actor. He and I met playing Magic the Gathering in the Bronx. So we've known each other for years. And the other two parts, felt like I was able to cast them pretty quickly through more traditional means, like backstage. I found people that I really liked, and also Houston, who plays the Uber driver, who's also leading the, I guess, AA meeting at the beginning of the film. He appeared in a friend of mine's film, so I kind of knew him and knew his work. I really liked him, but I couldn't find anyone for the lead, and so I was thinking of kind of like people I know, and somehow I thought of Julian, and we ended up doing. We watched. I remember sending him like YouTube videos, like video essays, just to like get him, I guess, a little familiar with what I was going for. I sent him like video essays on Simon Lang's Days. I was like, this is kind of what I'm looking for. There's going to be these long shots where we really like dwell on you. And then we ended up doing like readings of readings is a weird way to put it because there wasn't much for him to read, but I guess you call it auditions that were virtual. So he jumped on the other end of a video call, and we did. I remember the scene where he's just watching something on his phone, but the audience doesn't know what he's watching, and I'm just oh thanks, yeah, I'm just watching him react. And so we did things like that. Um, where it was just like 4 or 5 minutes of him watching a YouTube video, and I don't see the video, but I'm watching him react. And after doing that, I thought, okay, let's do it. And Julian was awesome. Like he was there for all of these very late nights and was really into it. And I know it's like he was with. I have to talk to him actually about if he wants to come to Alabama. But he was with us when we did the Q&A at Brooklyn Film Festival, which is really cool.
Well, please, if he doesn't make it, please tell him he did an amazing
Yeah.
job. I just wanted to
Oh, yeah.
highlight one element that he did, or I don't know if you directed him to do this, but when he comes back to his home, and by the way, the religious iconography amazing. But when he suddenly, at least for me, it's when he starts to lean on things. Again, I relate when you come back after a full graveyard shift, your body is just so exhausted, and how he just grabs the wall and then the chair, and then you realize, puts this foot brace on, he has this, need. But man, that moment again, it just felt so natural, so real that was genuine. Does he actually have a need for that?
He does. That was my brace that I added in. I found out after watching Weeknights. I think it's pretty cool that again, my hero Simon Lang, when he was making Goodbye Dragon Inn, he purposely, and he said this. I think it's on like the DVD or Blu-ray like special features. He said that he gave his I guess lead, the ticket taker who manages the cinema. He gave her this leg injury and this brace on her leg purposely to slow her down because he knew he wanted to make a slow film, and I thought that was really really cool. It just came out and said it, and so I think I probably wanted to do something like that. And but it was my, because I have like a lot of people I know, and maybe it does connect with having to work these long hours sometimes on your feet. But yeah, I had this nagging foot injury, and that was my brace. And I was really bad about putting it on at the end of the night to go to sleep, because that's what they told me, is I should wear it to sleep. So I thought for Julian, he could kind of have this foot problem as well. And then when he comes home after working the overnight shift, this would be part of his ritual, that he would have to strap his foot into this brace, and it would look, really uncomfortable. And it is really uncomfortable, and it is actually kind of painful to wear that thing, which is why I never did.
He double straps it. Oh, I could feel it.
Yeah, and it's interesting that there's these little subtle hints of what the bigger story is, that your brain fills in the rest of the story, and that's lovely. The hints of like, where's the I'm assuming she was living on the street. There was a friend of hers. Where is she now? Like these things that are just very subtle arcs that you just have to create in your mind of what is going on. And it was really just amazing. I just realized that my dad worked the night shift as a campus security guard on a college campus, and he had both his knees replaced because of that. And I just now put that together, and why I'm connecting with this film so much. I will have to have him watch
he
it.
totally should. Yeah.
Wow. That's amazing. Okay. But yeah, see what you've done. This is what it does. The minimalist of it allows you to connect to it in whatever way you possibly can. And that's the magic of it, I think.
Oh, thank you.
No, you did it. So, folks, if you hopefully we've persuaded you to go and watch this film. It will be playing at the Sidewalk
if
Film
I
Festival.
apologize to Gareth about slow cinema because of this film, it's worth watching.
Oh, you got to see it, folks. And it's to see it in a theater with an audience that appreciates that. And you're going to be here, right?
Yeah, I'll be there. My friend and producer of the film, Justin, will be there in attendance as well. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. It's my first Sidewalk Film Festival. And Justin, he actually believed his dad lived in Birmingham for a long time, and he attended the festival for a number of years, and he would go every year with his dad. And so he is really raved about it. So I'm looking forward to it. Oh, sorry, I don't know if I cut off, but yeah, I'm really looking forward to it.
No, absolutely. So it's playing on
Saturday. Yeah, the 24th at 8:30 p.m. At the Birmingham Museum of Art.
Excellent.
You know what?
Wow.
I was even thinking this would make an amazing installation.
Yeah.
An immersive installation.
They should have the security guards from the museum.
That would be great.
And give it a viewing, because again, it captures that beautifully.
It really does.
Definitely. If you have a pass, put this on your schedule or get an individual ticket, because I think it's gonna be a beautiful moment.
We'll link to it as we post this as well. We can't wait to meet you in person and see it again on the big screen, and see the discussion afterwards or before, after. I'm assuming afterwards. And just really a great job. One of my favorites I've seen so far.
I really appreciate it, and hopefully I'll get to meet you both at the screening or at the festival. Yeah, I'm easy to recognize. You can find me really easily.
Well, I mean,
the beard helps.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks again. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, thank you so much.